Yo Joes, whoops, wrong universe. Hello fellow He fans and She ravers, back with another He-Man Origins, Masters of the Universe Origins review, courtesy of the good folks, the good brothers and sisters at Mattel, taking a look at old Bone Brain today, old Bonehead Skeletor. And what I'm most excited about with this particular figure is one of the accessories. Took a look at Origins He-Man last time, who has an incomplete sword, only half of the power sword. And as with my vintage He-Man, I always put Skeletor's half on that sword, so it would be a full complete power sword. I'm going to do the same thing once I crack this Skeletor open, but let's take a look at the packaging before we do that. It's identical to the He-Man packaging, and I've got a commemorative Skeletor here to compare. Same deal as before. The red is just ever so slightly a little bit less saturated, but they look fantastic side by side. The Super 7 retro style figures look great on a carded wall, and they look great alongside the original He-Man figures, and I think these will too. You can't really tell the difference. The articulation points don't really jump out at you that much. I think side by side they look great. The logo is absolutely perfect. The placement, the font, everything is almost exactly the same. The rock burst. So I think these figures will be a nice collection to anyone who's lucky enough to have either original Masters of the Universe carded figures or some of those commemorative figures. And on the back, same deal as He-Man. This fantastic play feature of being able to hold an accessory in the hand, plus He-Man's articulation as well, and artwork of the other figures, and some artwork of Skeletor includes a comic book. The nefarious overlord Skeletor wants to control the power within Grayskull. And some really nice artwork there. Very nice. All right, let's crack this figure open, shall we? And we pop old Skeletor out of here. Accessory bag in the back. Whoops. All right, I was going to say this video hopefully isn't going to be as long as the He-Man video, because I don't really need to get into all of the articulation. Covered all that with He-Man. This guy's going to be the same, but I was going to look more at build quality, and the arm popped out, but this is not a break. Relax, it's fine. It's just a scratch. That pops right back in. I didn't know that comes out that easily, actually. The head can pop off. I popped He-Man's head off in the last video, but I would never try to pull these arms off intentionally, just because I've broken a couple of arms off of other toys. But that pops off really nice, and that's incredibly easy. That's really awesome. So I'm guessing this is a little bit of bringing back the original He-Man figures, because you could easily pop the arms off of the old ones and swap them. Oh, look at that. Learn something new every day. And they're interchangeable too. So now Skeletor can rock the 24-inch biceps. He can be the most powerful man in the universe. That's a cool feature. I like that. Pops in and out quite nicely. Holds really well. I'm applying quite a bit of pressure right now, and it's not coming out. So it's not like they're really, really loose joints. In terms of build quality, that feels good to me. Body construction is pretty much exactly like He-Man. He's got a gripping hand in the one side and kind of the open hand in the other one. Let's take a look at the accessories. Look at the Havoc staff. Nice detail on it. The thing I really want to do is compare it with the original one. So here we have the original Skeletor, and what I'm most curious about is differences in color, shade. This one is a darker purple. This one is more of a blue, bluish purple, or just plain blue, maybe. Detailing looks almost identical, if not exactly. It's a different mold, but it's extremely similar. These rings are a little smaller on the new one. Very similar though, and length, the new one is just a little bit longer. So let's pop that. This is a commemorative Skeletor, by the way. Pop that in his hand, see how it fits. Fits fantastic. Nice, good grip, which is more than you can say for the Classics version, which is kind of loose. I guess if you pull it down far enough, it gets a little tighter. But the harness, the hood, the weapons on both of these versions are more of a darker purple, and his harness has fallen off here, and more of a like a cartoon-looking one on this one. He also comes with the sword, and luckily because of the loop, just like on the original one that I have right here, you can have him hold two weapons by just like the original one. Awesome. You can have the sword loop around his hand, and I'm sure a lot of people are going, tighten that harness. Can't stand looking at it hanging loose like that. So there we go. These originals have always been a little tricky to stand, but it's okay. I mean, having an open hand gripping a sword doesn't quite look right to me, but it's not bad. It's better than He-Man's completely open hand. And just like with He-Man, he comes with a comic book Beast Barrage, which I believe is the same one as before. Just like with the He-Man one, this one is kind of stuck in here. The He-Man one was stuck in the bottom corner. This one is really stuck, almost feels glued in there, so I'm just going to leave it in there. The comic book is included. And what else we got going on here? Let's take a look at the harness. Harness is exact same construction as the original Skeletor. Probably a lot of you who didn't see my Barbarossa customs video are wondering, where did you get that original Skeletor looking purple axe? That's a Barbarossa custom. He's on eBay. You can check him out. Looks great with Skeletor, but the construction on the new harness is the exact same. So they changed up the He-Man one, but the Skeletor one is still the same. Let's see. This has been notoriously difficult in the vintage toys to stay connected. Even some of the classics, but that looks nice and secure. This looks like it just like on the original one. It's really dug in there. Yeah. It's nice and secure. It's not going to pull out. Sometimes on the old ones the teeth wear out and they don't hold very well anymore, but that looks good. And then he's got the little skirt harness thing, and looks pretty much the same as the original. Same detailing on the chest harness as the original one. I love all the details that have been carried over. This is a floppier material. It feels more rigid on the original / commemorative version. This has a lot more give to it, so probably more flexibility. Yep, gives him more articulation in his hands and his arms to be able to just push that out of the way. So that's cool. And as far as the face goes, the mouth is open. He's got red eyes. This original / commemorative one is a version with no red dots in his eyes. And height-wise, are my eyes playing tricks on me, or is he quite a bit taller than Skeletor? Maybe it's just the way I have his legs positioned, but he seems much taller than his original version than Origins He-Man was compared to his original version. Let's bring in Origins He-Man. Maybe I just am doing something weird with the legs. Move this guy over here, and oops. These two look about the it's a disaster. These two look about the same size. Is Skeletor taller? It seems that way. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something with the, it feels like I'm doing something with the legs, or is he just taller? I don't feel like I'm bending the knees on this He-Man, but maybe I am a little bit. Yeah, I was. There you go. Just learned something else. The knees on my He-Man were bent a little bit. I mean, that looks right to me because that's what the original figures look like. They have a slight bend in their knees. But, yeah, I guess don't do height comparisons because you never know what's going on with the knees. Let's move this original Skeletor out of the way for a moment, and a little comparison with the Classics version. Like a more faded, muted blue on the skin. This one just looks more fun. He looks more cartoon accurate, filmation accurate. Really nice bright blue skin on him. Doesn't really, oh, this is popping out. Doesn't really have a spot in the back. You can try to fit the sword back in there, but it doesn't have like a proper loop like He-Man does. And the thing I really wanted to do, since I got this package, is unite the power sword. So let's take the He-Man one. I was wondering if the Skeletor sword would have the same metallic sheen in the plastic as the He-Man sword does. He-Man's sword is made of a different plastic than his axe. It's more metallic looking. And they did not go that route with the Skeletor sword. This is just purple, made of the exact same plastic as the Havoc staff. So it would have been nice to have that same kind of metallic look, because once you join them together, it'd be nice to just have them kind of metallic looking on both sides. But I bet you we'll see later versions of Skeletor, maybe some of these guys down here, Battle Armor or Dragon Blaster or some of the other guys, and we'll probably see that metallic fleck in there. But let's join the power sword, and this is probably gonna give me a good zap. Ah, yeah. And now you have the power. Any original He-Man fan knows how horrible some of these power swords would fit together or not fit together, come apart. But these have plugged into each other very well. They just come apart a little bit at the handle, which is not a big deal because that's where the figure holds the sword. The important part is for the blades to not come apart, and they look great. So the connection points are in the right spots and they're the right sizes. It comes apart, doesn't feel like you're going to break it. This is better than the original He-Man sword that just had these style of connection points. You can see I've put some crazy glue in here to try to get this connection point to grip a little better, because that blade always comes apart, just will not stay together. So I'm glad to see that's not happening here. And here comes the shock again, probably. Kapow! Right on. So now, oh man, I love it. I just love a full gray and purple power sword. There we go. That's a little bit of unfinished business that only lasted a week, but now He-Man has his full power sword. That's fantastic. That's how I'll keep these guys. Holds it great, so the part that's coming apart at the end doesn't even matter with the figure holding it. And now you can do that pose, holding the sword aloft and calling upon the power of Grayskull.
By the power of Grayskull!
And two more quick comparisons for you. Here is a Super 7's vintage style Skeletor figure. Coloration is very similar. Got a brighter blue on the skin, and the purples are close, so those look nice together, but seeing them side by side, this one wins. The extra articulation, I think, just makes him a little bit better than this one. And then finally, here's old Panther. So we don't have an Origins Panther just yet, but if you've got a vintage one or a commemorative one, like this one is, you can get your Origins Skeletor, and let's see if he fits. And the skirt has always been an issue, even with the original one. But let's see if he'll slide in there. Just like the original one, the skirt is kind of getting in the way. So what I've always done with the original, that's why it was undone, is I undo it so that it can go over top of this front part. This being a floppier material, like on the shoulders, helps it fit on Panther as well. So he does actually fit on there, although if you take this completely off, I'm sure he'll fit on there even better. Comes off nicely. Didn't tear it, that's nice. And yeah, he fits on there even better without the hip skirt. And let's see how he looks on here. Looks fantastic. Once again, glad that the Origins line is in the same scale as the original line, and that all of the figures are backwards compatible with all of their vehicles and their beasts. That looks quite nice until we get an Origins Panther, which will hopefully be flocked just like the original one. Stay tuned to the channel for 2 more Origins reviews. Got Battle Cat coming up and the Sky Sled with Prince Adam figure. And big thanks to the Patreon tribe for your Patreon power. I want to give a warm welcome to our newest Patreon tribe members, VidZombie, Mark Richards, and Colt. Hope you enjoyed this review. Feel free to share it and all the other videos on this channel. Leave an Eternian thought in the comment spot, and to join the tribe, cast a spell on subscribe. Nerdmas Day!